All right, so let's dive into a question that you all send in.
Okay.
And it's one that I think we can all relate to. Are we addicted to sugar?
Hmm.
We've got some fascinating research from a registered dietitian
Okay.
that might just blow your mind a little bit.
All right.
So to kind of set the stage here,
Sure.
we often think of sugar as this, like, bad guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because we think of sugar as the bad guy.
Right.
But truth is, our bodies need it.
Yeah.
It's pure energy for our cells.
Uh-huh.
And it even crosses the blood-brain barrier
Oh, wow.
to fuel our brains directly.
So my brain runs on sugar.
Yes.
That explained a lot
Yeah.
about my, 3 p.m. energy slump.
Uh-huh.
But I'm guessing there's more to the story here.
Exactly. It's not sugar itself that's the problem,
Okay.
but the sheer amount of added sugar
Right.
we consume in processed foods.
Oh, okay.
Our ancestors evolved eating fruit and honey,
Yeah.
not the highly concentrated sweetness we find in today's snacks.
Interesting. So that craving for a candy bar,
Yeah.
it isn't just like a sweet tooth. There's something deeper going on.
There is. There's a lot of complex brain chemistry at play.
But
Research shows that sugar can trigger those same dopamine and opioid receptors in our brains that are involved in drug addiction.
oh, wow.
So it's not just about willpower.
Yeah.
There's an actual physiological response happening.
Hold on. Dopamine and opioid receptors.
Yes.
For someone who hasn't taken a biology class in a while,
Sure.
can you break that down?
Yeah, so think of these receptors
Okay.
as tiny docking stations in your brain.
Okay.
When something pleasurable happens, like eating sugary food,
Right.
dopamine is released,
Yeah.
and it docks onto these receptors, giving you that feeling of reward.
Yeah.
But over time, your brain starts to crave
Right.
more and more dopamine
Wow.
to achieve that same level of pleasure.
So the more sugar we eat,
Right.
the more our brains get wired to want even more sugar.
Exactly.
That sounds a little scary.
It can be. It's a bit like building up a tolerance.
Okay.
The same amount of sugar doesn't give you the same rush as it used to.
Right.
So you need to consume more to get that feeling of reward.
Okay.
This is where things can start to feel out of control.
And this is where we get into the idea of sugar addiction.
Yeah, while sugar addiction isn't an official medical diagnosis yet, the research shows there are definite parallels with other forms of addiction.
So how do we know
Yeah.
if our relationship with sugar is crossing that line
Yeah.
from enjoyment to something a little more problematic?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The article we have for you today outlines some questions to ask yourself
Okay.
about your sugar consumption habits.
Okay. Let's hear them.
Right.
I'm ready to face the truth, even if it's a little bitter.
Okay, so first,
Yeah.
do you ever feel like you just can't control how much sugar you eat, even if you want to?
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
That feeling of knowing we should stop,
Yeah.
but somehow just can't resist another
That's
bite.
powerful, right?
Yeah.
Another question is, do you often find yourself craving sugary foods, even when you're not actually hungry?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Like when you've just finished a meal,
Right.
you're completely stuffed.
Yeah.
But still, somehow there's room for dessert.
That's it. It's that drive for the reward,
Yeah.
even when your body doesn't need the fuel.
Are there any other signs we should be looking out for?
Yeah, think about the frequency of your cravings.
Okay.
Do sugary drinks and snacks constantly occupy your thoughts throughout the day?
Okay, now I'm starting to sweat a little.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit too real.
And it's important to consider the impact on your life.
Yeah.
Is your desire for sugar causing problems in your relationships? Or interfering with your work or daily activities?
That's a serious wake-up call.
It is.
So if we find ourselves answering yes to a lot of these questions,
Right.
what does that mean?
It might be a sign that your relationship with sugar
Yeah.
is something you want to explore further.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
Are we doomed to a life of sugar cravings?
No, not at all.
Okay.
The good news is
Yeah.
there are practical steps
Uh-huh.
you can take to manage those cravings and regain control.
Okay. All ears.
All right.
What are some strategies that can help us break free from sugar's hold?
The key is to remember that it's a journey, not a quick fix.
So it's more of a marathon than a sprint.
Exactly.
Right.
And a crucial first step is to focus on creating a balanced diet that works with your body, not against it.
Can you give us some examples of what that balanced diet should look like in practice?
So think about incorporating 5 servings
Okay.
of fruits and vegetables into your day.
Okay.
They provide natural sweetness and fiber,
Uh-huh.
which helps to stabilize blood sugar
Okay.
and prevent those intense cravings. Also, make sure you're getting enough lean protein
Right.
and healthy fats
Okay.
to keep you feeling full and satisfied.
So it's not about depriving ourselves.
Right.
It's about giving our bodies the nutrients they need to thrive.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And along with a balanced diet,
Mm-hmm.
consistent eating is key.
Hmm.
When we let ourselves get too hungry,
Right.
our bodies go into survival mode,
Okay.
craving quick energy,
Oh,
which
right.
often leads to unhealthy choices.
The dreaded hanger pangs.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we're fueling our bodies regularly
Yes.
to avoid those desperate sugar cravings.
Exactly. And this is where planning comes in handy.
Okay.
Having healthy meals and snacks readily available can make all the difference when those cravings strike.
So things like meal prepping,
Mm-hmm.
grocery lists,
Yeah.
keeping healthy snacks on hand.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't just trendy tips.
Right.
They're actually powerful tools for managing our sugar intake.
They really are. Planning ahead puts you in control,
Yeah.
rather than letting those cravings dictate your choices.
This is eye-opening.
Yeah.
It's not just about willpower.
Right.
It's about setting ourselves up for success
Mhm.
by making healthy choices easier.
Exactly.
What other strategies can help us regain control?
Well, we've talked about food,
Uh-huh.
but movement is a powerful tool as well.
Right.
Even gentle exercise
Okay.
can help regulate those pesky stress hormones
Yeah.
that often lead us to reach for
Right.
sugary comfort foods.
So it's not about punishing ourselves
No,
with intense workouts.
not at all.
It's about finding ways to move our bodies that we actually enjoy.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of sleep.
Okay.
When we're sleep deprived,
Right.
our bodies produce more of the hunger hormone ghrelin,
Mm.
which can make us crave
Oh.
sugary, high-energy foods.
Wait, so a good night's sleep
Yeah,
can actually help curb my sugar cravings.
it can. It might sound surprising.
Wow. I'm definitely taking notes here.
Yeah, getting enough rest is crucial for regulating those hunger hormones,
Right.
making healthy choices easier.
So prioritizing sleep
Yes.
is non-negotiable
Hmm.
if we're serious about managing our sugar intake.
Absolutely.
It's like setting ourselves up for success from the inside out.
Yes.
What about hydration?
Oh, that's a good one.
Does that play a role too?
Absolutely. Sometimes our bodies mistake thirst for hunger, sending us on a quest for sugary snacks,
Yeah.
when all we really need is a good old-fashioned glass of water.
So before I reach for that cookie,
Yes.
I should try drinking some water first.
It's a simple but effective trick.
Okay.
Staying hydrated keeps you feeling full,
Yeah.
helps to dilute sugar concentration in the bloodstream,
Right?
and can significantly reduce those cravings.
All right, I'm adding that to my list of strategies.
For good.
Drink more water, curb those cravings.
Exactly.
What about food journaling?
Yeah.
I've heard about that, but never really understood its purpose.
It's all about awareness. By tracking what you eat,
Uh,
even for a short period,
Right.
you can start to see patterns in your eating habits
Yeah.
and uncover those hidden sources of sugar
Yeah.
you might not even realize you're consuming.
So it's like shining a light on those mindless snacking habits
Exactly.
and helping us make more conscious choices.
And sometimes just the act of writing down what we're eating
Yeah.
can be enough to make us pause and reconsider
Right.
those less healthy choices.
It's like having an accountability buddy,
Uh-huh.
but it's just you and your notebook.
That's a good way to put it.
I like it.
Yeah.
But what about those diets
Okay.
that tell you to cut out entire food groups? Are those necessary or even helpful?
Unless there's a medical reason,
Okay.
I'd caution against eliminating entire food groups.
Mm-hmm.
It can lead to nutrient deficiencies
Yeah.
and isn't sustainable long term.
Right.
It's all about creating a healthy and balanced approach that you can maintain over time.
So no need to go to extremes.
Exactly.
What about sugar detoxes? Are those a good way to reset
No.
our relationship with sugar?
While it might be tempting to try a sugar detox,
Yeah.
quitting cold turkey can actually backfire.
Really? Why is that?
When you drastically restrict something your body is used to,
Okay.
it can create a sense of deprivation
Right.
and lead to intense cravings
Yeah.
and even binge eating later on.
So it's like a pendulum swinging back and forth
Exactly.
between restriction and indulgence.
It's much more effective to focus on making gradual and sustainable changes to your diet and lifestyle
Okay.
rather than going to extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, this is about creating a healthy relationship with sugar,
Yeah.
not waging war against it.
I love that reframing. Creating a healthy relationship,
Yes.
not a battle.
Right.
It feels much more sustainable and empowering.
Absolutely.
So we've got a lot of practical tools in our toolbox now.
Yes.
But what if we're still struggling?
Yeah.
What if we feel like our cravings are just too strong to handle on our own?
It's important to remember that you're not alone.
Okay.
There are professionals who can help.
Right.
Don't hesitate to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian.
That's a good reminder that there's no shame in seeking help.
No, not at all.
Sometimes we need a little extra support
You do.
to navigate these complex challenges.
Absolutely.
What can a healthcare professional offer
Mm-hmm.
that we can't get from a podcast episode like this?
They can assess your individual situation,
Okay.
taking into account any underlying health conditions
Yes.
or medications that might be contributing to your cravings.
So it's not just about generic advice.
Right.
It's about getting a plan that's specifically designed for you.
Exactly. They can help you develop a realistic and sustainable plan,
Okay.
whether that involves dietary adjustments, behavioral strategies, or even exploring medication in some cases.
It's reassuring to know that there's professional help available for those who need it.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that we don't have to figure this out all on our own.
We don't.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In this first part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
we learned how sugar affects our brains, how to recognize signs of an unhealthy relationship with sugar,
Right.
and got some practical tips for managing those cravings.
And there's more come.
Okay.
In the next part,
Yeah.
we'll delve even deeper into the science of sugar addiction,
Okay.
explore the connection with other forms of addiction, and discuss some additional strategies for taking control of your sweet tooth.
Stay tuned.
We'll see you next time.
We're just getting started.
We are.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of sugar.
Yeah.
Last time we uncovered how sugar can kind of hijack our brains and lead to those intense cravings.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really highlights how powerful our biology is and how those cravings are rooted in something much deeper than simply a lack of willpower.
Exactly. And it made me think about those trendy sugar detoxes we see everywhere.
Right.
Do they actually work?
Well,
Or are they just like a temporary fix?
like with most things related to health and nutrition,
Right.
there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
Some people might find a short-term sugar detox helpful for breaking a cycle of intense cravings
Oh, okay.
or resetting their taste buds.
No, it could be a useful tool for some,
Yeah.
but not necessarily a long-term solution.
Right. For many people, drastically cutting out sugar can actually backfire.
Right.
Remember how we talked about our brains getting wired to expect that dopamine rush?
Right.
When we suddenly deprive ourselves of something our body is used to, it can create a sense of deprivation and lead to even stronger cravings later on.
It's that pendulum swing again.
Yeah.
Restriction leading to
Kind of burning
intense
that.
cravings and potentially even binge eating.
Plus, let's not forget that our bodies need glucose,
Right?
a type of sugar,
Yeah.
to function properly.
Yeah.
Completely eliminating all sugar
Right.
from our diet isn't realistic
Yeah.
or healthy in the long run.
It's all about balance,
Yes.
not deprivation.
Exactly.
But what about those who
Yeah.
feel like their cravings are truly out of control?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Are there any other options beyond just trying to resist the urge?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
article emphasizes seeking professional help.
Okay.
A doctor or registered dietitian
Right.
can provide personalized guidance and support
Okay.
that goes beyond what we can cover here.
What kind of support can they offer
What's that?
that we can't get from a podcast episode or an article?
Think of it as a tailored approach.
Yeah.
They can consider your unique medical history, lifestyle factors, and any underlying conditions that might be contributing to your cravings.
So it's not just about generic advice.
Right.
It's about getting a plan
Yes.
that's specifically designed for you.
They can help you develop a realistic and sustainable plan,
Okay.
whether that involves dietary adjustments, behavioral strategies, or even exploring medication in some cases.
It's reassuring to know that there's professional help available for those who need it.
Absolutely.
But let's go back to the idea of developing a healthy relationship with sugar.
Yes.
What does that look like in our daily lives?
It's about being mindful and making conscious choices
Okay.
rather than letting those cravings dictate our actions.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where You can enjoy those occasional treats
Right.
without feeling guilty or letting them take over.
Precisely. It's a journey,
Yeah,
not a destination.
right.
And there are tools and strategies we can use to navigate those tricky moments
All right.
when cravings hit hard.
Let's talk about those strategies.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
Remember our earlier conversation about hydration?
Yeah.
Sometimes our bodies confuse thirst signals with hunger,
Right.
leading us to reach for sugary snacks when all we really need is a glass of water.
Right. It's amazing how something as simple as drinking water
It is.
can have such a big impact on our cravings.
It's one of the easiest
Yeah.
and most effective things you can do.
Another powerful tool is distraction.
Oh, yeah.
When a craving hits,
Yeah.
try to shift your focus. Engage in an activity you enjoy.
Right.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
Call a friend. Read a book.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to music.
I got
Anything
you.
that takes your mind off.
Yeah.
That immediate urge for sugar.
It's like those cravings are waves.
Right.
And if we can just ride them out, they'll eventually subside.
And speaking of riding things out,
Yes.
physical activity can be a game changer
Yes.
when it comes to managing cravings.
It doesn't have to be an intense workout.
Right.
Even a short walk.
Yeah.
Or a few minutes of stretching can do wonders.
It's not about punishing ourselves.
No.
It's about finding ways to move our bodies that feel good and help us manage those cravings.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
What about sleep?
Oh, that's a big one.
We talked about it briefly earlier.
Yes.
But can you elaborate on its role in all of this?
When we're sleep deprived,
Right.
our bodies produce more of the hunger hormone ghrelin, which, as you might remember, can ramp up those cravings for sugary, high-energy foods.
Okay.
Getting enough sleep is crucial for keeping those hormones in balance and making healthy choices easier.
So prioritizing sleep is non-negotiable.
It is.
If we're serious about managing our sugar intake, it's like setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah.
From the inside out.
Exactly.
Are there any other strategies we can add to our toolkit?
One of the most powerful tools, often the most challenging to master, is mindfulness.
Okay.
It's about tuning into your body's signals,
Right.
learning to distinguish between true hunger and emotional eating,
Okay.
and developing a deeper awareness of your eating habits.
That sounds simple,
It does.
but I imagine it takes a lot of practice
It does.
to truly become mindful of our eating habits, especially in our fast-paced world.
It does take effort,
Right.
but with practice, it becomes easier to recognize those subtle cues in your body and make more conscious choices
Okay.
about what you eat and why.
It's like learning to listen to our body's wisdom again, rather than just reacting to those external cues and cravings.
And this deeper awareness can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It's about taking control of your choices
Right.
rather than feeling controlled by them.
This deep dive has been so insightful.
It has.
It's made me realize that managing our relationship with sugar
Yeah.
is about so much more
It is.
than just the food itself.
Right.
It's about understanding ourselves better,
Yes.
recognizing our patterns, and developing strategies
Yeah.
that work for us individually.
And it's about being patient and compassionate with ourselves throughout the process.
Yeah.
There will be ups and downs, but it's that commitment to making gradual, sustainable changes
Yeah.
that ultimately leads to a healthier and happier relationship with food.
I love that. Patience and compassion.
Yeah.
We're all on this journey together,
We are.
and it's those small steps that make the biggest difference over time.
You got it. And remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about how sugar affects our bodies and minds, the better equipped we are
Right.
to make informed choices and create a lifestyle that supports our overall well-being.
We've covered a lot of ground in this segment,
We have.
from debunking sugar detox myths to exploring mindfulness techniques and the importance of professional support.
And we're not done yet. In our final segment, we'll delve into the connection between sugar and other addictions,
Okay.
discuss the potential role of medication, and explore some additional resources to help you continue on this path of discovery.
Stay tuned. We've got more to uncover.
We do.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive into the world of sugar.
Yes.
We've covered a lot of ground, the brain science behind cravings,
We have.
to practical tips for kind of managing our intake.
And in this last segment,
Yeah.
I'd love to touch on something that I
Okay.
think is incredibly important, the connection between sugar and other forms of addiction.
That was something that really stood out to me in the article.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us more about that connection?
Yeah. Well, research has shown that for people in recovery from substance abuse, sugar can often become a substitute. It seems that the same reward pathways in the brain that are triggered by drugs and alcohol can also be activated by sugar.
So even though sugar isn't a drug in the traditional sense, it can have a similar effect on the brain's reward system.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
It is, and it highlights just how powerful these neurological pathways are and how crucial it is for people in recovery to be mindful of their sugar intake.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If someone is trying to break free from one addiction, it's important to be aware of other potential triggers that could hijack those same reward pathways.
Exactly. And it speaks to the need for a holistic approach to recovery. It's not just about abstaining from the substance itself, but about addressing those underlying emotional and psychological factors that contribute to addictive behaviors.
It's about understanding the whole person.
Yes.
Not just the addiction.
Exactly.
Are there specific strategies or resources that can be helpful for people in recovery?
Absolutely. Support groups, therapists, and addiction specialists can provide valuable guidance, coping mechanisms, and a safe space to work through the challenges of recovery.
It's so important to remember that we don't have to go through this alone.
We don't.
There's help available.
There is.
And seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And speaking of seeking support, I also wanted to mention that in certain cases, medication can play a role in managing sugar cravings.
I was curious about that.
Yeah.
Can medication really help?
It can.
With something like a sweet tooth?
There are some medications, primarily those used for weight management or diabetes, that can have the side effect of reducing appetite and curbing cravings.
So it's not like a magic solution. But it's something that could potentially be helpful for some individuals, under the guidance of a doctor, of course.
Precisely. It's important to emphasize that medication should always be considered in conjunction with lifestyle changes and those other strategies we've discussed.
This deep dive has been such an eye-opening experience.
It has.
It's made me realize that managing our relationship with sugar is about so much more than just the food itself. It's about understanding our bodies, our minds, and this like complex interplay of biology and psychology.
And it's about taking ownership of our health and well-being. We have more power than we often realize to make choices that support our overall health and happiness.
That's a really empowering message to end on.
It is.
Do you have any final thoughts?
I do.
For our listeners who are kind of embarking on this journey of creating a healthier relationship with sugar?
I would say the next time you reach for something sweet, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, am I in control here, or is it the sugar?
Ooh, I love that.
It's a simple question, but it can be incredibly illuminating.
It's a reminder to bring awareness to our choices. And be intentional about what we're putting into our bodies.
And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning of your journey.
Exactly. There's a wealth of information out there.
There is.
About nutrition.
Yes.
Sugar and healthy habits.
Keep exploring. Keep learning. And most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you for having me.
Into the world of sugar. It's been a fascinating exploration.
It has.
And we hope you've gained some valuable insights to help you on your own journey to a healthier and happier relationship with sugar. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
Keep them buzzing.
And those bodies thriving.
Absolutely.